This is your weekend market recap for Friday, February 10th, 2023. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka The Trading Agent. This is your weekend market review for February 10th, 2023. Let's get into it. Hopefully you've been having a great week. I know we have, anticipating a lot of action. The evidence is showing why shorting and the market is topping near term, probably medium term, and for the next move down in what I would consider a bear market that is not anywhere close to over, as much as people like to say and hear from the media. However, it is what it is. Define your risk and be safe. I appreciate all the love and support. If you're newer to the channel, please check out all the resources that we bring to trading, whether it's the YouTube channel or if you're trying to join the Discord room. The link is in the description below. I appreciate everybody's support. And yeah, let's get into it. Discord room, yeah, if you want in, link is in the description below. It's a valuable resource. I ask that if you come in here, please explain what you're looking for and how we can help. And be aware that, trading is one of those things. It's, you give what you get kind of thing. If you want to give a lot of effort to learn how to trade, you're probably going to do much better than the average person who wants to give minimal effort, right? You can't expect to be an all-star, top at your field by doing the minimal amount of work, right? It just doesn't make sense, especially in trading, which has got thousands of variables and is pretty difficult for the average person. Check out Twitter. If you want to hit me up as well, I'm posting what we're up to there. Also, message me if you'd like a link to this Discord room. That's kind of where I post what I'm doing publicly. Is also trying to update people in the Discord room. If you're newer to trading, here's where there's a ton of value. I know a lot of people want easy answers. They want books. They want to follow somebody. I'm telling you, check out the Back to Basics. There's so much going on in here, explaining all the different little nuances of seasonality, the trading week, the Feds, options expiration. That's a good one you probably should watch this weekend if you are not familiar. ChopX. So, on that note, let's get into the charts. Bitcoin at support. Better hold here. As we talked about, this candle up here was long wick and outside-ish, meaning potential reversal. So clearly reversing now. If it bounces a little, not surprised. I mean, you also have some support down here in the mid 20,000s. Personally, I think Bitcoin, kind of like gold, kind of like everything that's been rising because of the anticipation of Fed pivot and rate cutting. I don't think that's going to happen, hence why the stuff is pulling back. Don't be surprised. Be smart. Be thoughtful. Again, define your risk. Have a stop. Oil. Big problem for the Feds if oil continues to rise. If Russia does more dirty work in Europe and Ukraine, just keep an eye on it. I personally don't have a position on oil. I will love to see what happens when it gets back into major support, but here's the thing. I anticipate it also could rise. Again, incursions, all the stuff that's going on. When the trade's too hard, I typically step away. There's other trades out there that'll be easier. There's things that'll go up or down regardless of what happens. The oil, be thoughtful. Nat gas, people are trying to pick the bottom here. I get it. I personally don't really give a crap to trade it because, again, we stopped out at 596 area, whatever this one was. Yeah, up in here. When it pulled back and it was just like goodbye, you got to let it go. And so people are saying, well, it's time to buy it. Here's the thing I struggle with nat gas and why I'm going to tell you this and tell people to stop asking about it, because it typically is a chop bottom. Now it has straight line down, so could it rise back, right? Straight line moves usually have like a decent bounce back. Yeah, absolutely. But do you really think it's going to go back up to $3 or $4 very quickly or beyond that? Probably not. It's probably going to chop out. So please be thoughtful, be safe. Again, there's easier trades out there. I know a lot of people love trading natural gas, or it's the widowmaker. I say this all the time. The dollar, yeah, you're welcome. This is what, again, how we talk about things that are bearish, right? How to look for evidence. Well, one of the first things we were talking about was the dollar. Like the bull market that people were so excited from expecting since October had a weakening dollar the whole ride down, right? Well, now you have a trap below, and it's bouncing, and a professional gap to start the move. Now, I'm not surprised it's chopping around the 50-day. I mean, it's a decent little move here in the dollar. It's stuck here in the resistance zone. Oh, apologize. So at this point, I've said this many times. Again, be aware of your surroundings. Do not have tunnel vision to one stock or one particular setup. You got to see the whole market for what it is. And as of right now, If the dollar starts rising, market's not going to like that. Talked about now the bond market, TLT rising, bond yields going up, right? People selling bonds. Hits the 200-day, double top, a little lower high, sorry. Rates going higher. Market ain't going to like that. Tech ain't going to like that. That's for dang sure. So now what? Again, if the rates continue to go higher, TLT sold off, you better be careful. Because I don't think the market's going to like that. That's not showing a Fed pivot, guys, gals, friends out there. This is showing that, what? Rates are going higher. Be careful out there. Now, again, the bond market and what the Feds do don't necessarily have to always be one-to-one. But I'm telling you right now that the bond market is pricing in something. The VIX, congratulations. If you started shorting the market last week, here you go. Now, people say, oh, is this a bearish signal? Is it about to roll over? I mean, look at along the way to bear paradise, there's going to be volatility, right? It just, you'd love to see the straight line move. Personally, I like the slow bear markets because it's easier. You can trade around your position. You can get in and get out. You can daily short every pop like you literally have been able to do in certain names this week. People, wink, wink. That's what I've been trying to tell people. Like, you don't care if it goes super fast or slow. I'm sorry, super fast. Slow's fine. It's going to get there when it's going to get there. And again, here are the reasons why I still don't think the market has bottomed. You've never seen a bear market peak with the VIX in the 30s. I'm just sorry. It's just not that. Go look at the monthly if you need. I'll do it again since it's the weekend recap. Look. Bear markets have VIXs that get up at least into the 50s. And these weren't even bear markets, y'all. These were just big pullbacks in a bull market. Look where we're at. This is compression to me. And when I mean compression, meaning we're going higher. I don't know when. The VIX is going higher. The market's going to get smoked. At some point, that's when you can start buying for the long term. SPY, please be careful. I'm trying to get people to be aware. Sorry, I was just messing with something. All right. Double top, trap, fail. Double bottom, trap, fail. Right? Double bottom, trap, then another double bottom, and then go. Right? There's repeating patterns within the market that we kept talking about over the last couple of weeks where you see an extreme and then a double bottom or afterwards or before. Well, here's the double top before. Here's the trap, the novice gap. If you don't know what a novice gap, again, all these terms I'm using, back to basics videos. Now what? All right. I mean, today was green. People are like, oh, see, it's not. All right, we'll see what happens. You got the channel 20-day, 0.618, all coming in. And this is what I'm saying. Like the VIX dying rising ridiculously quick. Not a big deal. Again, I'd rather it slow. There's great trading opportunities. Some of the folks in the Discord room are absolutely destroying it by trading around their positions, which you should be. QQQ. The trash floats last. Novice gap. Goodbye. Now again, doji on a Friday. Who cares, right? I mean, look at the week. Pop, flop. We'll see what happens next week, especially with the CPI. Now again, the data for what it's going to be is going to be, in my opinion, they're changing how they calculate it. But I mean, at this point, does it really matter? That's why I always tell people, like these moments in the market seem so important, but they're really just fleeting, right? Like the market's going to do what it's going to do. Is it going to change the trend? I don't know. The weakness is still there, in my opinion. Topping action. IWM, remember it lags? Well, this doesn't look good. IWM is at the 20-day. It is much lower than some of the other indexes. Well, the IWM leads. It led up, failed at the August highs, coming back. DIA. Again, this had been leading up. Tops in November, makes a lower high in December, chopping. If it breaks the 50-day, look out below. Just warning y'all. Gold. We talked about shorting this, so let's get into this deep. I took off all of my gold shorts, not because I think it's going higher, for any other reason other than maybe an incursion, stuff going on in Ukraine. The easy money was out. I'll take that. Okay, not a big deal. I still got dust because I think GDX will get pounded no matter what if the market drops, even if gold does rally and spike temporarily. That's a professional gap, starts a down move, but remember, second quarter is typically when gold gets its strongest weakness. Maybe even February, but I know it's early February, so give it a little time. Again, I just think there's easier trades out there. That's why pivoting sometimes. Silver, talked about it. Leave it alone, heading down south. It couldn't break out when gold was going higher, and evidence-based. You know, people are always like, well, what is this evidence? Like, well, clearly you're not watching the recaps, or you're not seeing presented the information as it is. When we said gold was probably going to flop if silver flops, because silver wasn't breaking to new highs, it was chopping, you had problems. And you saw it with the miners, and then the professional gap, and look what it's done. Got no love. GDX, same kind of thing. That's why I'm fine holding dust. Hits the range highs, head and shoulders top, gap down. Look what it's doing. Make her lower lows. Watching for this 28 area, really simple. We'll see what happens after that. GDXJ, talked about the junior miners lead, right? Look what they're doing. Like, they're at the trend line. They don't look strong. Like, these are all evidence-based. Because I get so many people on FinTwit trolling or getting mad that I'm saying the miners look bad. And again, we're short them. Again, I personally love gold long-term, but it doesn't mean that what? I'm going to be long it all the time. Like, that's just irrational, y'all. You got to trade the market. Market is meant to be traded. Okay? Unless you want to buy and hold, then don't complain when it goes down, because nothing goes up all the time. That's just unrealistic. Here's another sign of why we thought gold and silver were not going to act well. One of the bigger names in the silver space, look at this, AG, has been just a steady decline. Something's wrong here. AEM, professional gap down below the 50-day. Touches it yesterday, flops, make a lower low. Things that aren't bullish, right? Professional gap starts the trend. Newmont, can't believe people want to buy this. They're buying other miners. They're going to have to devalue their balance sheet. The market is going to penalize them very hard if gold starts pulling back. Just keep that in mind. If it does, I wouldn't be surprised if it get back down to the 38 level at some point. Maybe even lower. I don't know. If the market smokes down, I'm telling you, nothing's safe. Not the miners either. PAAS, again, more confirmation of ugliness within the charts for metals and miners. People get mad at us when we just, hey, this is what's happening. Sorry, is what it is. AMD, some tech names. Let's get into it. Starting to fade. Remember we talk about AMD loves to blow off top before it fades. Blow off top. Novice gap. Takes a couple days to play out clearly. Chop. Now starting to roll. Taiwan Semi holding up a little better, but look what happened though when it got up to the range highs. Long wick, flop. Anyone see Nvidia today? Not looking good. Not looking good. Professional gap starts the move. Just remember that. Now again, it can chop a little bit before it starts. Or it could continue down. Either way, if you shorted SMH, which we talked about, being a little underwater on Soxus, not the end of the world. Here you go. Gets up to the range highs. Yeah, I know you don't understand, Siri, because I wasn't talking to you. We get into this gap. Everyone says it has to fill it. That's why I always laugh. People are like, oh, gaps always have to fill. Well, it depends on the gap and what kind of market direction you're looking for. In a bull market, gaps don't have to fill. In a bear market, gaps above do not have to fill. I'm just telling you that right now. People were screaming about that gap. I'm like, okay, now look what's happening. Break down below this 241 level. You know what's coming. Look down below. Adobe. Talked about this was a massive reversal signal. Look what's happening. Starting to turn down. Again, Apple ex-dividend today held up pretty well. I guess people wanted that dividend. Was it really worth it? We'll see. I mean, you make that dollar whatever and change it is, and then it'll be lost at some point. Novice gap. This is the top right here. And I keep telling them, like, maybe I should just put arrows on it and leave it there. I mean, it's that simple. That's it. That's your reversal signal. Long wick, big volume, no follow through. That's distributive. Amazon. Again, things that aren't bullish, right? Look at some of these tech names. They look like absolute trash. Pops up, gaps down, see you later. Hits a 200-day. I mean, again, tech is not going to have momentum. I have these arguments with novice traders who've been trading for 10 years or less. They've never seen tech and what happens to tech during inflationary times. Tech does not do well during inflationary times because what? Tech by its nature is deflationary, and their margins get freaking smoked when input costs rise. They can't pass on higher prices, y'all. It's so competitive. I try to explain that to people, but they just don't listen. Anyway, here you go. See what happens here. I mean, CRM getting institutional support, and then look, we're starting to pull back. I imagine if I bought this and my news of institutional support, I'd be selling covered calls in the money and being like, goodbye. Google. Things that are not bullish, right? We talked about this playing this big chop game. People are like, oh, it's so strong. I'm like, did this last time. It chop, 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 made a slightly higher high, bam. Now people say, oh, it's because of AI. Okay, I'm going to do the same rant I do every day. AI ultimately is going to be everywhere and free. There's not really a competitive advantage at this point. They're not going to be able to charge a premium. I don't know what planet people are on. Meta. Remember the whole, oh, it's big deal. They got Oculus going into the multiverse or whatever. Not the multiverse. Is it multiverse? Whatever. Here you go. Gaps up. Hits the massive upside range rejection. Like you got a huge support resistance here and a 0.382. It's talked about shorting here in the 190s. Congratulations. This thing is going to flop over like a fish. It's not supportive. Again, Meta is still a piece of junk. Just because it rises, again, the best advertisement for higher prices and chasing and dumb money is what? Higher prices. Remember at the lows, we talked about this is probably the bottom. Does anyone remember that we talked about this? So we put this upside target zone minimum, filling the gap. Well, look what happened. Look what happened after the gap. It just went straight goodbye. The direction. Now it's gapped up huge. Does it roll right back over? It's one of our bigger shorts. Congratulations if you're in it. Microsoft. That is distributive, y'all. Look at this upside action. Hits trend lines, whatever. It doesn't even necessarily 0.618, 0.75s, yada, 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 whatever. Opens up, closes low. Opens up, closes low. Today, no follow through. This has been a huge move. All on AI going to Bing. Bing. Good luck. Bing bong. NASDAQ. Don't trust tech names. Talked about NDAQ. The actual NASDAQ itself as an exchange is going to be bleeding when people stop trading momentum tech names because they don't move. This is confirming it. More bearishness. MicroStrategy. We talked about. Watch what happens up here in the range highs. Now again, perfection. Look at this. Long wicks. Closes back in it. Another wick. I mean, you stretch it over. Why is it doing that on the side? You can't see on the other screen. And then fails. Here we go. Under the 20-day. Things that aren't bullish, y'all. Netflix. We talked about. You're welcome if you shorted this up in the 370s. Here he goes. Little gap and go. Again, they're cutting off sharing passwords. Is Netflix really that important? No. It's still in a bear market. Excuse my coughing. But look what it hit. Massive resistance over here. Massive area here. Hits it. Backs off. Long wick. Another open high, close low. Look at this 2-day move. Boom. Congratulations. Awesome sauce. Roblox. I didn't recommend shorting it because I think it's a buyout target, but he said if tech rolls over, this is a novice gap. Looks bearish. Confirms it. Congratulations. If you are short Tesla, don't have a short position on this, but confirming more bearishness because of what? Look at this candle. Gets up here. Gaps up. Doji. Into the old resistance support zone. Go all the way. You go. Sorry for the cough. Goes way back. Telling you, looks distributive. Look for pops or short. So now what? I mean, could it M out? Could it chop out? Maybe. If you're short from the 210 plus, just let it ride. I'm telling you, let it ride. Have a stop, define your risk. People were talking. Let me throw this one. Starbucks. People are looking at shorting this in the Discord room. I like it a lot actually, but it's just not a fast mover. So be careful. Here's your left shoulder. Here's your right shoulder. Here's the 20-day. Here's your professional gap. It's just chopping. It looks very much like Caterpillar when we get into it. So let's get into the commodity names. Speaking of X, things that aren't confirming bullishness, right? Great earnings. Coming back. After a nice run, we talked about the 30s. Going to be a heck of a hard breakout. Not happening. Nucor, right? Talk about Nui. Here you go. Another long wick. Pulling back 20-day. Now, again, be careful shorting commodities if there is going to be stuff going on in Europe and Russia, Ukraine stuff. Just potentially. It's just potentially. People might run to those as hedges. Talk about VALE not confirming bullishness. Like, all this stuff just confirms it all, but yet people are like, oh, I got to buy the dips. Oh, I think the market's going higher. It's like, all right, whatever you say, boss. Here you go. Hits the monthly trend line. Comes right back hard. Speaking of cat, I'll just pop that in here. Keep talking about. Watch what happens here every time it pops. You can short it. At some point it breaks. You're like, oh, where's it going to go? I mean, maybe 200 at worst. Fill the gap. I mean, this thing ultimately is. I mean, it's gone on a straight line move from 160 to 265. It can go straight line down, y'all. I mean, it can go 30, 40, 50 points very quickly. So if you're short from up here, and we talked about shorting this. Also, remember, I bought some lotto puts during earnings, worked out, and said watch the mid 250s. Congrats. awesome. I mean, again, I would not be surprised if this thing just turns into melting butter, just dropping. Arrow, copper. Again, copper, what's going on here? Not look. Oh, bullish. Breaking the 20-day. Uh-oh. With the big size candle. CCJ. Again, I congratulations on the earnings. We'll see. It's just chopping here. I've said this 1,000 times. I like it down here, maybe at some point. Now, if you wanted to short it up here, it makes sense too, though. You're back up against some range highs, filling the gaps, multi-day range, chopping. Every time it gets over like mid-20s, someone's there with a lot of selling. So, again, is it the best short? Probably not, but again, it should fall if they all fall. Just keep that in mind. CF, interesting today. It popped today. This is where I get a little concerned about the Europe stuff and Ukraine. This one gapped, or not gapped, but this ran up pretty good today. Now it's back into resistance. See what happens here. Mosaic holding up 200-day. Uh-oh. Just, again, watch all these together. See what happens. NTR, that one peaked first at the 200-day. Not following through like you would think. AA, you would think aluminum would be up today. Making new lows. Again, things that look bearish, y'all. Right? Lower highs. We talk about banning Russian aluminum. That's not what you want to see. XLF. Gift from the gods holding up here. Holding the 20-day, but when it's ready to go, it's going to go. And I don't think people understand how financials work. They're carrying all the risk going on globally. CS, if you saw Credit Suisse's earnings, it was absolute dumpster fire. See what happens here. I like the FAS here. Define your risk. Very simple. JP Morgan. Lower highs. If it breaks the 20-day, adios, arrivederci, goodbye-bye. Here you go. Next one. Lower highs, lower lows. Doesn't look good, but notice what happens every time it pops the wicks, right? Can't get back over this high of 99, 100 area, right? Keep an eye on it. Goldman Sachs, another one that I'd keep an eye on. Makes a slightly higher high, fails, comes back in. Keep an eye on it. XBI, right? You think XBI, the bios would be acting better? Nope. Look at this, straight slaughterhouse. Now I know Doji here. Maybe it takes a couple days and chops and goes, but things that aren't bullish, y'all, right? Solar, you're welcome. Trying to post. Every pop is a short on this. TAN at the 200-day. Maybe it has a little bounce in it. ENPH. Yeah, we talked about earnings. That's not what you want to see. Now, intraday action, these multi-day range with the volume. Keep it on it, because if it breaks 200, then it's over. Sedgerton, Sedge, hits the range highs, backs off. Again, this stuff could chop a little bit, but here's First Solar, my favorite short. Every time it pops, look what's going on here. It just gets sold. Breaks this 160 level, watch out below. Personally, I think it might take time. It's OPEX, I don't know. But this thing has been on a monster run, and this is dangerous, because think of the rubber band man theory. Bigger run, tired. Smaller run gets more tired. Smaller run gets more tired. It looks like it's about to reverse, and you have like an M top with a blowout here. Look out below. That's all I can really say. Have a stop, though. Trade around it. Be safe. Let's end it with oil, because, again, this is where I think that the rubber meets the road. If oil starts ripping, the Feds can't cut rates. Can't do it. Holding up pretty well. Watch what happens if we get back up into the 71 range. UNG, I don't even know what to say here. Remember, this thing needs to reverse split. Oh, what's a reverse split? Well, it does. I guess it's not showing on these charts. I apologize, but yeah. Oh, here was one. Why is that? Why is the color so bad? It did a 1 for 4. Just remember, like, this thing gets beaten down so badly. It typically reverse splits, right? Well, it decays. So if you buy this thing, be careful. Trade around it. Be please. These ETFs don't necessarily always line up to the commodities. And if you don't know the product you're trading, don't trade it. XOP. Nice pop today, right? Okay. Oil and gas, here you go. Someone was saying 140s. Well, here you go. Watch what happens when it fills this gap. That would be my concern. ExxonMobil. Strong like bull. Back up above the monthly trend line. Here, I'll show you on the monthly. Some people are like, what are you talking about monthly? It's like, yeah, zoom out, playa. Is it breaking out? We'll see. It's tough to trust a breakout, right? When the market's in what it's doing. Is this a novice gap? Because this is what it did last time, gapped and then flopped. Again, keep an eye on for the repeating patterns. I just try to make you guys aware of this. Some people are just completely oblivious. Occidental. But again, I'm not shorting oil and gas. I just don't trust it. in between ranges. I personally wouldn't touch it. PXD got a nice little pounce today, 10 points. That's cool. I mean, it's been holding this range lows. You would think it'd be acting better. It's not. EQT, again, natural gas. These guys can't manage their own book if they had the answers to the test. Is this a trap maybe? Yeah, potentially. Again, I think you need to go over the 20-day to confirm it. Either way, please be careful out there. Please be thoughtful. Define your risk. If you have any questions, reach out. I think, again, ultimately people need to be thoughtful, pay themselves, prepare to pay taxes. Remember, capital gains tax sucks. That's why you buy real estate. You don't have to do it when you do 1031 exchanges. Remember, depreciation. Oh, man, I could get on the real estate rant, but I'm not. I think people need to start putting money into looking to buy real estate because, again, it will go up with inflation. Keep in mind, the 70s and 80s, house prices doubled and tripled around the country because inflation sustained and anchored in. At this point, be thoughtful about what you're going to do. Again, it's OPEX next week. You have CPI on Tuesday. Please be thoughtful because, again, I think one of the things that is very obvious to me is the trend is turning over, but doesn't mean it has to go over immediately, okay? High and tight, chop tops, whatever. Just look at the repeating patterns. Know your plan. Because don't be the person who just reacts to the market and acts. Because, again, if you are newer, then your emotions take over and you will get put in what I would consider the terror zone. You're gonna be trading out of fear and not really sure what you're doing, and you're gonna be overexposed or underexposed or not really sure, and you're chasing. Again, that's why trading is ultimately much harder than what people try to pretend it is. The emotions make it 1,000 times difficult. So, appreciate everyone. Thank you for the love, support, the generous donations. They really mean a lot. I'm investing back in the channel. Try to bring better, more content, be involved, help you guys out. Let's connect this weekend. If you have any questions, I will talk to you later. And also, to go Eagles. Winning the Super Bowl, baby.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.